Welcome to Top Secret Marketing, where we use ChatGPT to elevate your marketing and stay ahead of the competition. This is part two of a multi part series on building a brand. So, if you like context, I will link that first video up here and you can go back and start there. If you're somebody who likes to just jump in, then you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to focus on identifying that idea. As I said in the previous video, I have an idea that I've been working on for a while. I just have never had time to implement it up until now. So, with that, I'm going to be jumping in and actually doing this right here in front of you, and then we're going to be testing this out. The way that I have come to this idea is through a lot of trial and error in my own experience. But there are a couple things that I have found to hopefully improve my chances of having success. So I'm going to focus on something that I have an area of expertise in, something that I have a lot of experience in. I'm going to keep this centered around a market that is willing to spend money to solve their problems. And also, hopefully, with the help of ChatGPT, create a better product than what they're used to. So, really separating myself as somebody who knows the market and understands the market and then can deliver a product that is better than average. Hopefully, much better than that, but we'll start with reasonable goals. My idea is related to marketing automation. This is something that I've been thinking about since I started my career at a marketing agency and wish there was a easier way to do a lot of the repetitive tasks, or perhaps a better way to get more consistent results. For this, my idea, like I said, it took me quite a while to refine this. We're going to walk through each step for this, but hopefully, through my experience, I can shorten that process for you if this is something that you're looking to do yourself, or if you're looking to find a business opportunity within your area of expertise, or even just an area that you have a lot of experience in. Couple things before we jump into ChatGPT to do this for real. Remember to think of ChatGPT as a marketing calculator where we are going to give it bits of information and it's going to spit out an answer for us. I always encourage everyone to give this a try. There's no cost to do this, and we're going to walk through each step along the way. So let's jump in and get this going. Over at ChatGPT, and we are going to use this to generate our business idea. We're going to do this two different ways. I'm going to walk you through a more generic example that's a little bit more extended, just for those that have not seen this before, so you can get a better understanding. And if you have seen this before, just to show you more from a marketing perspective how this can be applied. So the first thing I'm going to do for this generic example is I'm just going to create a persona. Okay, just to explain what I'm doing here. So I'm going to have ChatGPT create a persona, and I'm asking ChatGPT to give us some very specific information about this persona. This is something you can use with ChatGPT and anything, using a very specific output. Provide me this very specific information, something that's will be useful for us down the road. Okay, let's see what this gives us. Okay, perfect. So it already gave us the business idea. ChatGPT wants us to make money. Just to touch on this a little bit more, so obviously work background experience, interest, passions, these are all things that I personally use when I was identifying this opportunity that we're going to talk about, my area of expertise, my available investment, what I'm going to put into it, my risk tolerance, how much time I'm willing to put in, and then obviously it spits out a business idea. So this gives us a decent way to approach this. Or can you give me, provide me three other ideas for might be interested in. Okay, perfect. So this is what's awesome about ChatGPT is it is seemingly infinitely creative. You can ask it to provide you more information. You can ask it to provide you more details. It's going to give you some reasoning why this would be a good opportunity. But one of the things to keep in mind is when you're doing it this way, you're going to get answers that are all over the board. So you've got eco-friendly lifestyle store, whatever that is, an organic food subscription box service. Well, I mean, these are ideas, but these are all over the place. And the idea of starting an organic food subscription box service is probably a pretty serious undertaking. Maybe not quite a small business, but who knows? So, with that, obviously, there's ways that we can refine this, and that's what we're going to talk about now. Okay, so this is the actual prompt that I use, and I will share this. I'll link this down in this description. There'll be a Google form that you can fill out and have this prompt. But essentially, a couple other things and a couple ways that I refined this prompt so that it's going to give us potentially a better set of answers. So with this in mind, just to kind of run through this, I'm going to pop this up here. Perfect. So it's going to ask us to provide this information anyway. But to give you an idea, I have these key components here, but the difference in this prompt is to use the information provided as a seasoned business strategist. So if you're new to ChatGPT, one of the things you can ask ChatGPT to do is assume a persona. What that means is it's going to act like a particular person to give you a particular result, pulling on all of the knowledge that it might have about how that person communicates or that type of person communicates, and then channel that to give you an answer. So what I'm really looking for is, rather than just ChatGPT's answer on how to become a better business owner, I'm looking for ChatGPT to act like a seasoned business strategist, somebody who has lots of experience and a skilled business consultant to provide that information. Okay, let's see what it provides. Okay, so we've got two opportunities, and one thing that I built into this prompt was to provide a unique value prop based on my perspective. So what I personally can bring to this business, it helps me to understand if I have the skill set to pursue this idea and how to do it. So first things here, the first one is a digital marketing consulting agency. Perfect. And then also an AI solutions and sales and marketing, and giving us those. Perfect. And a little bit of context on why 40 hours a week, get the business off the ground. Perfect. So with these, essentially, the next step is saving this information for future use. So just like we've talked about before, where we're using this as a giant equation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one of these to actually then go out and start making into a real idea. So as we've talked about, though, I have an idea. It's very close to this idea here. So we're going to lean more into that here in just a second. And I'm going to explain the next steps as well. All right. So now that you have a better understanding of how I reached the idea, I'd like to go ahead and share the idea with you. Codename Prometheus, as we'll call it, is a better way to start a business using AI. So something that is designed to help create a business that's going to be more likely to be successful right from the get-go, rather than, all of the trial and tribulation that usually comes with starting a business. Here we are. So next step, now we have the idea, we're going to focus on the target audience. There is a ton of information out there in how to generate the target audience, but I think more importantly is when this is done in the process. So now that we have our business, now we need to figure out who is actually going to be served by this and if those people actually exist. First thing we're going to do using ChatGPT is identify our gap or help refine our niche down so that we can be more focused. And then from there, we're going to identify a broad target demographic, a larger group of people who might be interested in our business and who might be willing to pay for that. And then also narrow that down further. Some people call these buyer segments, some people call them market segments, minimal viable segments, all sorts of different things. We're going to keep this simple, and these are going to be our buyer personas. Jumping into that But a couple things to keep in mind as we go through this: just because we have AI, just because we have ChatGPT, doesn't mean we get to throw out the fundamentals. So, with that, we're going to want to find a way to be authentic. So, we don't want to be reaching into an audience that we don't understand, or that you don't have, or that I don't have personal experience with. And again, we're going to look for a market that is spending to solve, and somebody who not just wants something, but somebody who needs something better. Finding a market where people are desperately needing something solved is a much better market to get into, and something that is generally easier to deal with as well. Perfect. So, first thing with this, before we jump on in, just like everything, learn by doing. So if you want to follow along, feel free to do this on your own screen. And then also, bring your own idea and bring that unique value proposition that you bring to that business, and you can build out your audiences and build along with us. So, welcome back over to ChatGPT. What I've got here is the business description that we're going to be using for this project. So now we're really starting to get into this, and the value proposition, a couple key pieces that set this product apart, at least what I think is going to set this product apart initially. So with those, what we're going to do is use ChatGPT to essentially take that business description and the value proposition, combine those together, and identify a target demographic that would be interested in this, and then two buyer personas that would also be interested in this. Another way to call a buyer persona, another way to describe a buyer persona, would be a minimum viable segment. So we're really looking to identify who is potentially going to buy that product from us. So let me drop that prompt in here, and we will be off to the races. All right. So, a couple things when I'm building out prompts that I'm going to be using on a regular basis. I always want to have them provide consistent answers. And so, when I'm building that out, I'm keeping that in mind. But with this in particular, here's our gap. So, the existing AI powered marketing platforms largely limited to providing isolated tools for content creation, scheduling posts. That is, in my experience, exactly what it is. You're starting to see some combination where they may be doing that for multiple platforms, or they're focused on social media, but very few of them are bringing those all together. So we're off to a good start, offering a platform that can do this for them and help them do that. A couple things to keep in mind: target demographic. The reason we start here is because this gives us a broad overview of people that we can pull from. One thing that I have learned is it's probably unlikely that we're going to hit a home run on the first try, so it's good to have a larger group to pull from. We want to know who they are, their marital status, their income, education level, all of these different pieces that we could be potentially looking for, where they're located, places they might be living. All of these things help us to focus down, so that one, obviously we have limited resources, but two, we can make the most of those resources. The next piece here is our buyer personas. I'm not going to dive too deeply into these, but really the priority for these are creating the foundation for how we're understanding how to solve this problem. These are also going to be useful in marketing audiences and in other ways that you will see, but these are essentially core components to our foundation. So, with this in mind, I'm not going to dive too deep into buyer personas. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of people who will describe it very, very well. But we're looking to understand this audience and this particular target demographic as we build our brand. So, moving on to the next step, we are going to jump back over and talk a little bit about where we go from here. Excellent. So we have gotten a lot accomplished very quickly. Let's take a look at where we are in this process. We've got our idea, we've got our audience and our gap. And now the next step is to figure out the exact reason why our audience is going to buy from us in the first place. From there, we're going to actually define the product. We're going to really hone in on what that product is going to be. And then we're going to talk about our channel strategy and building and launching this. So, moving pretty quickly, but that's by design. And hopefully, you are getting something out of this as well. As I mentioned, the prompt that I use to identify this opportunity for myself, and to refine that is going to be included in the Google form. For right now, I'm not going to be sending any emails out. You will have one shot when you click it on the confirmation screen. There will be a link you can click to download that. And from there, you can go ahead and access that. Stay tuned for the next episode. It will